Welcome everybody to the review of the ninth chapter, which is called Raja Vidya, Rajaguhya Yoga, the yoga of the sovereign knowledge, Raja Vidya, sovereign knowledge, and Rajaguhya, sovereign secret yoga. By the way, can you hear me okay? I'm using a different headset. Shubha, Anuji? Yes? Okay, all right. Okay, let's start by reviewing. What is the main topic covered in the ninth chapter? Does anybody want to answer? So, the main topic, so you can keep the answers open. So, this is a way to review the contents. Otherwise, it's going to be a whole bunch of ideas thrown together and you won't understand the flow of the Bhagavad Gita. So, it's very important to understand the flows so you know the continuity. So, the answer is the main topic of the ninth chapter is about Brahman. Brahman is Nirgunam. It doesn't have any attributes. It is Nirguna Ishvara. It is the God without attributes. Remember, there's two, when we say Ishvara, it has two forms. It was elaborated in the seventh chapter. Apareyamita swanyam prakritim vitti me param jiva bhuta mahabhaho yaedam dharyate jagat. There is a higher form. I am Krishna, the Ishvara, but there is a higher form without attributes which sustains the entire universe. This is called Brahman or the Nirguna Ishvara. It is called Apara, it's called Para Prakriti, the superior form of God, whereas the one which is embodied as avatar, it is the inferior form of God. So it is Nirguna Ishvara Swarupa Jnanam, Nirguna Ishvara, the attributeless God, Swarupam, the nature of the attributeless God. Jnanam is knowledge, so knowledge of the nature of the God without attributes. This is called Brahman in the Upanishads. This is called Raja Vidya and Raja Guhyam in the ninth chapter. It is discussed in shlokas 4 through 10. So if you go to slide 13, it will say that Nirguna Ishvara Swarupa Jnanam, Nirguna Ishvara in Vedanta is called Brahman. So this portion is the essence of the Upanishads and hence it is very, very important. Okay. Then the second question. The seventh and the ninth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita are almost similar. So Bhagavan discusses the seventh chapter. In the seventh chapter, Bhagavan talks about certain things. And in the ninth chapter, he again talks about some things. What are the similarities and dissimilarities? Can anybody answer this question? So the answer is in slide 4. So chapter 9 highlights the Nirguna Ishvara Swarupam, we just saw the Para Prakriti. Whereas chapter 7 illustrates both the Saguna Ishvara Swarupam, which is called Apara Prakriti, and the Nirguna Ishvara Swarupam, the Para Prakriti. So Bhagavan clearly illustrates the difference, and he also talks about Saguna Ishvara Bhakti and Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti, both of them. And he also then talks about Sakama Bhakti and Nishkama Bhakti. So in the ninth chapter, the main emphasis is Para Prakriti. In the seventh chapter, the emphasis is on both Apara and Para Prakriti. So this you can see in slide 4. So if you look at this, the portions are very similar. In the seventh chapter, Bhagavan introduces the knowledge of the nature of God with and without attributes. In the ninth, the first portion is introduction to the knowledge of the nature of God without attributes. So in seventh, both are explained. In ninth, only Brahman is explained. Then Bhagavan dives deeply into each of those forms in the seventh chapter. Nature of the God explained, both forms. In the ninth, he only explains Brahman, nature of the God, without attributes. Then in the third portion is cause and remedy for human samsara. So that in both chapters he explains it's such an important topic. And finally, the two types of bhakti based on motive, sakama and nishkama bhakti, are explained. And the same thing is done in the ninth chapter. Only additional component in the ninth chapter is the greatness of bhakti. He glorifies the bhakta. So that is the only additional content in the ninth chapter. Now, what are the two types of muktis? Mukti means liberation, moksha, liberation from the cycle of births and deaths. What are the two types of muktis? We've seen that in the eighth chapter also. Okay, I would like one of you to answer this question.
Rama Mukti and Sadhya Mukti.
Yes, very good, excellent. So the two topics, Rama means it's a sequence, it is a stepwise liberation. It is a roundabout liberation discussed in the eighth chapter. And in the seventh and the ninth chapter, Bhagavan talks about Sadhyo Mukti, which is instantaneous liberation, discussed in the seventh and the ninth chapters. So this is a better form of liberation. But to be complete, Bhagavan discusses the Krama Mukti. What is Krama Mukti? It is believe first kama mukti, all muktis need to be nishkama mukti. Sakama mukti, sakama, there's nothing like sakama bhakti. Nishkama bhakti is what will give liberation. Sakama bhakti, Bhagavan already says that in the 20th and 21st slokas of the ninth chapter. Etam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam shine punye matyalokam vishanti evam tayi dharmamanu prapanna gatagatam kama kama labante. People want desires, they want to go to heavens, but after the punyam is exhausted, they come back. So Sakama Bhakti, so Bhakti will always trap you. Nishkama Bhakti is the one which can cause liberation. Even the Nishkama Bhakti has two routes. One is Saguna Ishvara, like Krishna, all that. That is a very roundabout path because you have to do pranayama, you have to remember God at the time of death. Eighth chapter we saw that. And you have to go to Brahma Loka and Brahma will teach you and then you get liberation. So what it says is without jnanam, you cannot get moksha. Whereas Satyo Mukti, where we realize the true nature of you is the same consciousness Brahman through Nididhyasanam, lot of contemplation, Vedantic meditation, then you get Sadhyo Mukti, instantaneous liberation. So Jivan Mukti. So you will liberation when you're alive. After your prarabdha karma is exhausted, you leave this body. Okay. What are para and apara prakritis? What are their characteristics? So I just discussed that now. So you should be one of you should be able to explain. Anybody wants to do that? So para prakriti is the consciousness. It's the higher nature of Ishvara. I told you now. It is pure consciousness. It is the intelligent cause of everything in the universe. Apara Prakriti, it is the material universe. It is the material cause, lower nature. Of course, there is consciousness behind everything. Even us, we are two parts, but it's entire, the whole thing is called, it is Apara Prakriti mixed with consciousness. So it still falls into Apara Prakriti. So remember, we asked this trick question. So I'm going to ask it again. If you look at Krishna, which of the two Prakritis does Krishna fall under? Is it para prakriti or the apara prakriti? Which form of God is Krishna? Can anybody answer that? Ravi, Shubha, one of you should be able to answer. Are you there, Ravi?
Yes, Ganeshi. Can you repeat the question one more time? Sorry.
So, okay. The question is, what are para and apara prakritis and what are their characteristics?
Oh, basically, para prakriti is where you know conscious, intelligent cause, like you're praying for a particular god. Apara prakriti is
That's
like
para?
the
No, so that's wrong. And which one is Krishna? Krishna falls under which of the two categories? Para prakriti or apara prakriti?
Is it okay to
uh,
say Apara Prakriti Ganeshji
Correct.
for Krishna?
Yes. Remember, this is a trick question. Krishna, because para prakriti is just pure consciousness. It is Nirguna Ishvara Brahman is called Para Prakriti. It has no material. Anything which contains matter, even though there is consciousness in the matter, consciousness is there everywhere. It is still considered Apara Prakriti. So Krishna is the lower nature of God. Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param. This is apara prakriti, but there's higher nature of me. So what does he say? My nature is lower nature. Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param. Look, my superior nature is that para prakriti, the Brahman. In the seventh chapter, very clearly he says. So apara prakriti contains the material universe. Anything which is changing. Krishna changed from a child to a big person, right? So that is changing. So it is Savguna because it has gunas, it has attributes, form, color, everything. So it is Apara Prakriti. Very good. And what are their characteristics? So for that, we go on to slide 9 of chapter 9. Um, so the characteristics are Paraprakriti is nirgunam, attributeless, and Aparaprakriti is sagunam. We saw, right? Krishna has a character, color, features, everything. Is man, all that. And Paraprakriti nirvikaraha, the pure Brahman, never changes. Vikara means change in certain languages, especially in Tamil language and some South Indian languages. Vikara means disfigured. So you can say face is Vikara means it is just looks very, when people put on two makeup, some people will comment and say, Munji, Vikharama irukku. Means face looks so uh, distorted. So Nirvikara means changeless. Savikara means with change, full of change. So Krishna was changing from a baby to a big person. So it is a change. Nirvikalpa means divisionless. Vikalpa means full of divisions of part. Krishna has a hand, leg, everything. Chetana Swarupam means pure consciousness. Achetana Swarupam means it also has a material nature. Remember, consciousness is there everywhere, but in addition, it also has a material nature. Is it clear so far, everybody? Any questions? Yeah. I don't hear you, Ravi.
no. I think I'm good. Actually, I did the opposite. Actually, I thought para prakriti is
Yes. Okay. So it's very important. This is the main point. Which of the two prakritis do gods with forms like Kartikeya, Ganesha, and Krishna belong to, and why? We've just seen that it belongs to
apara prakriti.
Apara Prakriti. Yeah, answer in slide 8 because we saw that it's full of changes. So Nirguna Swarupam belongs to Para Prakriti, Saguna Swarupam belongs to Apara Prakriti, lower nature. Yeah. Then which of the what are the 5 features of Brahman that is used to distinguish it from the inert matter of the universe? For this, you have to go to slide 14. Go to slide 14. So the 5 features of Brahman that are used to distinguish it from the inert universe, inert material of the universe are follows. We just saw that one of them is Nirgunam, avyaktam, absence of tangible qualities for perception, or it is the unmanifested nature. There is no manifestation as color, form, taste, ashabdam, arupam, uh, ashabdam, arupam, gandham. So there's no smell, no taste, nothing. So it is intangible. Then tatham or sarvagatham, it's all pervading, it just permeates the entire universe. But when there is a medium available, it manifests as life. The rock doesn't have life, but when the medium, what's the medium? It is called sukshma shariram. When the medium is available, consciousness, it's just like a bulb. So when you pass electricity on a through a stone, it's not going to pass or do anything to the stone, right? But when you put it on the two terminals of a bulb, it becomes light. Like that, you need a sukshma shariram to manifest life. And the sukshma shariram can be a plant, animal, any living being, anything which lives. It has some level of consciousness. Maybe plants have a lower level and we have the highest level, but everything is between that. And there are also divine lokas, where divine beings with great powers, they exist. But only apparently in the Manushya loka, you can gain punyam or papam. You go to the divine worlds, you exhaust your merit punyam. Etam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam. Swargam, you go to swargam. Shine punye, when the punyam is exhausted, shinam is exhausted, you come down. Martya lokam vishanti. You enter the Martya loka, that is the mortal world. Or you can go to the nether worlds, and papam is exhausted, you come back to Manushya Loka. So only through Manushya Loka you can exhaust your punyam and papam, and the bank balance becomes zero, you get liberated. Vishwadharam, this is or Bhuta Brita, Vishwa Adharam means ever the supporter, never the supported. Nobody needs to support Brahman. Asangatvam, it is unsullied nature. Impurities of the world do not sully the Lord. It is Ashraya, the base refuge on whom others can lean, but it doesn't get sullied. Srishti, Sthiti, Laya Karanam Jagataha, is the cause of the origination, existence, and in the end, pralayam, resolution of the entire universe. So, are these clear? So, this is what you have to remember about the Brahman. Any questions here? Important one. What are I want one of you to answer this question. I've told many times. So what are the differences between the Brahman and the Atma? Ravi, Shubha, Anuji, can one of you answer?
The Atma is basically you're looking into yourself, right? The inner consciousness. The Brahman could be thought of as like, the outer consciousness, pretty much everything.
Yes, we have seen this example many times. So it is like there is no difference between the two. The consciousness is compared to space in Vedanta. In the context of space within the house, the body, house, think of the house as a body, it is like inner space, Atma. In the context of the space outside, it is called Brahman. Think of it like outer space, right? So there is absolutely no difference at all. Shlokas 4 and 5 of are two of the most seemingly confusing shlokas in the Bhagavad Gita. First, why is it so? And what is the concept that Bhagavan is trying to illustrate in these shlokas? Remember this, I've stressed this so much when we studied these shlokas. Can anybody answer why it is the most confusing of? So, and first you have to say, why is it confusing? First, answer the first question. Can somebody answer?
Yeah, he's saying all beings are in me, and then again he says when they're in me, they're not dwelling in me. That's the confusion.
Yeah, yes. Bhagavan, it's So I sent an article on some of the most. Bhagavan seems to be like a mischievous god, right? He seems to be confusing everybody. Let me pull the article. In the Bhagavad Gita, it seems to be full of contradictions. So some people, that's why they get confused. There are three places where these contradictions stand out, and one of them is verses 4 and 5. There, Bhagavan contradicts, and it's not later. He immediately contradicts his statement. What does he say? Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtinam. All this universe is pervaded by me, whose forms and manners. No problem here. Then he says, Matstani sarpa bhutani nachaham teshvavastitaha. All beings exist in me, but I am not in them, as I'm not supported in them. And then immediately in the beginning of the fifth shloka, he says, Nacha matstani bhutani pashyame yogam aishwaram. All beings are not in me, not well in me. He says, all beings exist in me, then all beings don't exist in me. Oh, so this is perplexing. Bhagavan is confusing us. So Adi Shankara gives a commentary on this. What does he say? By accepting and by accepting and rejecting the seemingly conscious and the imperishable, it is seemingly conscious and imperishable, but actually inert and perishable nature of things in the material universe. Krishna is illustrating the concept of nitya. So this is a very important concept. Okay, so for example, you consider a piece, you're attached to a piece of jewelry, right? And oh, this, you think it is going to be there for like a long time. This earring, you think you will pass it to your children, your grandchildren, but at some point it will wear out, or it will break, it will get damaged, it will melt. Uh, all those things can happen. So it is looks like it's seemingly permanent over 100 years because you got it from your grandmother, but over thousands of years it's going to perish. So in a short term, it looks as though it is imperishable and permanent, but it will get damaged. So there's no um, consistency in this. It is sat. That's what I call. Sat means it is the truth. It's there forever. Asat means it is temporary. It is not forever. So Krishna accepts the universe and then rejects it. It's like a dream. Dream does cause your heart rate to go up. Dream does scare you. Wake up sweating. But when you wake up, oh, it's not that you realize, oh, you're safe. So from people's point of view, the various parts of the universe are real. But from Brahman's point of view, they do not exist, which means they're not permanent. Do not exist means it's not like Maya. So everything, Maya just means it is there, but it'll change and go away. So the main message of this is do not rely on apara prakriti for security. The only thing which you can rely on is para prakriti, the Brahman that's inside you. You don't have to go looking for elsewhere. You have to meditate and find that within you. When you realize true nature is that Brahman, then and you realize that you are safe, you are secure. This body can decay, but you, the consciousness, will never decay. So from people's point of view, the various parts of the universe are real. From Brahman's point of view, they do not exist permanently. From people's point of view, remember the gold chain example, the gold chain is real. From the gold's point of view, gold chain is just gold. There is no chain, it is just a nama rupa. It could be melted and made into a ring. Okay, very, very, very important concept. So again, The example of gold chain is used to illustrate the concept of mithya in Vedanta. Mithya, as I said, is something which is seemingly real, but in reality, it is not real. Okay, this is called mithya. So Bhagavan very beautifully uses these things to illustrate mithya. From one angle, it seems to exist like a dream. From another angle, it is really non-existent. Same thing with the chain. It's just a chain, but it's just a name form because you can melt it and make it into a ring. What is it in essence? It is just gold. Similarly, in essence, all these things that are there, they're just Maya, because eventually they will dissolve into something like energy at the time of Pralayam. The important lesson is do not depend on worldly things for support. They are transitory and cannot give you support. So, how is it used to illustrate Mithya? So, slide 19 and 25 will illustrate. So, 19, if you go to 19, um, we already saw that all ornaments exist in gold. The chain exists in gold, but gold does not exist in the chain. In the sense, gold does not depend on the chain for existence. The chain is nothing but gold. Tomorrow you can make the chain into a ring. It is still gold, but it's not the chain. Gold is called Satya, chain is called Mithya. Similarly, Brahman is called Satya. The chain, all the parts of the universe, including our body, is Mithya. So give enough importance to the body for transaction with the world. You have to look presentable and all that, but don't get swept away by the beauty or looks or wanting beauty and looks in the body. Okay, that is the main thing. Then 25. When Bhagavan says all beings exist in me, and beings do not dwell in me, chain is in gold, but upon closer inspection, chain is not in gold because there is no such thing as chain. It's just a name form. There's only gold. Similarly, there's only Maya and Brahman. Is it understood, everybody? Any questions here? Anybody? Any questions? Everyone is
I
quiet.
think we're good.
Yeah. Okay, good. By illustrating Mithya, what important life lesson is Bhagavan trying to teach us? We just saw that. Bhagavan is trying to say, do not depend on worldly things for permanent security. They will never give you permanent security. So that's what Bhagavan is trying to illustrate. Then, next question. Bhagavan illustrates a very important concept in the 9th chapter on creation. What does Bhagavan say? He says he does not interfere in determining which jiva takes what birth as human, insect. How do you know in your next life you'll be a human or you'll be a divine being or you'll be an insect or a plant? But as Brahman, he as Brahman remains indifferent, just like the light helps both a robbery and neurosurgery. Remember, we saw that in the 2nd chapter. The light helps in both the robbers perform a robbery and it helps a neurosurgeon perform a complex surgery. So, see, a neurosurgeon performing surgery, and robbery is going to happen here at night. So, it illustrates the quality of Brahman being Akarta and Abhokta. Similarly, Brahman is the Atma also. It is Akarta and Abhokta. So, Bhagavan actually doesn't do anything. He's just Akarta and Abhokta. So, what does it mean? Bhagavan, so what shlokas illustrate this in the 9th chapter? This we will see. Take up first, 11. So, shlokas 9.9 and 9.29 illustrate this concept. So, we'll first go to 9.9 and 9. Okay, that's 9.9. And shloka 9 will be So, nacha mam tani karmani nibhatnanti dhananjaya udasinavadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. Oh, Dhananjaya, these actions do not bind me, who am like unattached to those actions, who remain like an indifferent person. So Bhagavan clearly says, I do not mess with things. It's their own karma which makes things happen. And then um, Udasinam. So this Ravi, you were also telling the meaning, how it's used in local language. So I'm sure you people are familiar with this shloka. So I'm not going to explain. And then we'll go to shloka number 25. So shloka number 25 would be, not 25, it can be 29, sorry. Shloka number 29. Bhagavan says, समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेष्योऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि ते तेषु चाप्यहम्. Very important shloka, has a star associated with this. I am the same towards all beings. I provide every being with consciousness. There is no one hateful to me, no one is dear. But those bhaktas, why? And you can say, why do you put me as a plant? It's just your karma. The consciousness is there, but the medium to express it, it's dull. It's like a mirror. When the mirror is bright, you reflect that consciousness fully. When the mirror is dull, don't do that. So plants have a lower order of reflecting the consciousness. Okay, it is called a reflected consciousness. Chid abhasa. Chid abhasa is lesser in other animals. But those, even in people, the gradation is different. But those bhaktas who worship me are in me, and I'm also in them. There's no one hateful to me, nor is one there. Okay? So that is what Bhagavan says. Bhagavan says that there's no first birth and there's no first karma baggage, but the cycle is anadi, which means it is beginningless. In which shloka does he convey the anadi aspect? He conveys that in 9.7, the 7th and the 8th shlokas of the 9th chapter. So what does Bhagavan say in those shlokas, 7th and the 8th shlokas? Let's see. Okay. सर्वभूतानि कौन्तेय प्रकृतिं यान्ति मामिकाम् कल्पक्षये पुनस्तानि कल्पादौ विसृजाम्यहम् प्रकृतिं स्वाम् अवष्टभ्य विसृजामि पुनः पुनः भूतग्राममिमं कृत्स्नम् भूतग्राममिमं कृत्स्नम् अवशं प्रकृतेर्वशात्. So Bhagavan is here trying to say that all beings reach the Prakriti belonging to me at the time of dissolution. I send them forth again at the beginning of a karma. That's all. They are unmanifest and manifest, or manifest and unmanifest. Controlling my own Prakriti, I send forth this entire multitude of beings necessarily by the force of Prakriti. I do not mess. The law of nature does this. And your own karma determines the life that you will get. That is the important point here. There is no one special and no one hateful to Bhagavan. Bhagavan provides everybody with the same consciousness. But those who want to purify, they want to see the higher nature, they just follow the, the law of nature. That is, when their mind becomes pure, they are getting closer to liberation. But Bhagavan does not say, oh, by doing this worship, by being sucking up to me, by doing favors to me, I will give you this. If you spread my religion, I will give you this many things. I will give you heaven. No, Bhagavan doesn't say that. If when you find the way by surrendering, realizing higher power, which is what's called Ishvara, then you move and you realize eventually that same Ishvara is your nature, then you attain mukti. Now we've covered the Nirguna Ishvara Swarupam, the next important part, right? So the next part is Samsara Karana, the reason why people take births and death. What is the cause of samsara, human samsara? Can anybody answer? Okay.
The mind itself.
So the answer, you can go to the, it is there in Shloka 11. The answer is in Shloka 11. So it is simply the fact that the delusion, so the delusion of the nature of the Ishvara, avajananti mam mudaha, it is mudam, this delusion, that is, they look down upon God as somebody who has taken a human form. Similarly, they don't know that the innate nature is the same as the innate nature of God. Not knowing the higher nature, this mudaha, this lack of this delusion, is the cause of human samsara. And what is the remedy to human samsara? Does anybody want to answer this?
Surrender to the
Yeah,
divine.
it's called prapatti or bhakti. Bhakti is the solution to human samsara. Even in the 7th chapter, Bhagavan very clearly says that. Okay. Then in Shloka 15, Bhagavan says that bhakti evolves from my God is the only God. That is Ekarupa Bhakti. Then Aneka Rupa Bhakti. There are several ways of worshipping God, and to the entire universe is God's manifestation. So that is Vishwarupa Bhakti. Which of this is the true nature of God? Remember, I asked you this quick question even during class, and I think one of you answered. So if you go to slide 58, you will find the answer. Can anybody answer? Which of the two? Ekatvena pratatvena bodha vishwato mukam. Ekatvena is one ishta devata. The rest are all not correct. Like Jesus or Allah is only God. Others are not right. Some people believe that. And pratatvena, some people say worship as Krishna, Vishnu, Shiva, all that is fine. The other people say, oh, the entire universe is God, entire creation, Vishwato Mukham, Ekatvena, one, Pritatvena, many distinct forms, Shiva, Vishnu, and Bahuda Vishwato Mukham. So, what is the real nature of God then? Anybody wants to answer? Answer is there.
Arupam, without form.
Yeah, so it is none of the above. You guys answered this when I asked the question in the class. In shlokas 16 through 19, Bhagavan is setting the stage for the Vishwarupa Bhakti, which is the main content of chapters 10 and 11. So we'll move on to that next. What is Vishwarupa Bhakti? Can anybody answer the question? What is Vishwarupa Bhakti? So it is there in slide 59. Learning to look at everything in the creation as a manifestation of God. Krishna uses the example of yajna ingredients, since yajnas were sacred in those days, to illustrate this. Everything in the creation is the manifestation of God. That is Vishwarupa Bhakti. And it's very difficult because on form, it's very easy to concentrate. Visualizing the entire universe, that's a little difficult. So it requires advanced bhakta, one who's been doing bhakti for a long time to get there. Okay. So now we're going to the fourth portion, which is the two forms of bhakti based on motive. Already saw that. Sakama with desire. Sa kama, kama, desires or craving desires. or nishkama, without craving desires. What's the craving desires? I want to experience the pleasure. I want that. Whereas I want to get liberated, it is like a mukti, it is broadened, whereas this is constricting. So it's called craving versus aspiration, which is I aspire to do something. So that's the difference. What are the three classifications on bhaktas based on the quality of their sadhana? Anybody answer that?
Manda and Madhyama.
Yeah, Manda, Madhyama, and Uttama Bhakta. So, what is a Manda Bhakta? Manda means dull. What is a dull Bhakta? We saw that slide. You go to slide 67. Let's go to slide 67. So, Manda Bhakta are fully driven by selfish needs, only Sakama. Okay, based on the sadhana based classification. What is the quality of the? It's also valid, but it's all driven by selfishness. The lower form, it's dull. Only sakama, no nishkama, the ways of the pleasure seekers. 2021. Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam. Traividyamam somapaputa papa. Yajnairištva swargatim praptayante. The prarthana for attaining swarga. एवं त्रयी धर्ममनुप्रपन्नागतागतं कामकामा labante. God is just a means for them. Manda Bhakta, lowest type. God is a tool to get what they want. Okay. Then comes the Madhyama Bhakta that is explained in slide 73. 73 Madhyama Bhakta is called a Nishkama Bhakta. God is both the means and the end. Okay, God is still different, but it's a God is a means to reach that end, which is merging with God. Ultimate goal of the Madhyama Bhakta is moksha. For these people, Bhagavan will take care of yoga and shema. Bhagavan says that. And then what is the Uttama Bhakta? Uttama Bhakta is not explained in this chapter, but it is explained in the seventh chapter. So, slide 57, if you go to slide 57 of the seventh chapter, then this bhakta is called the Jnani Bhakta. This is the highest. So, Bhagavan, what does he say? Tesham Jnani Nitya Yukto Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate. Priyo hi Jnanino Atyartam Aham Sacha Mama Priya. Of them, the Jnani, he describes four types of bhakta. Artho Jignasu Artati Jnani Cha Bharatarshaba Tesham Jnani Nitya Yukta Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate. The Jnani, wise person who's ever steadfast and has undivided devotion is superior. Why is that? Because the Jnani knows that that same consciousness which is in the universe is also in me. So, and Bhagavan very clearly he will say that Udhara sarpaye vaite dhani atmaiva me matam. All these bhaktas are great. Even the one Sakama asking for desires, Artha, the afflicted, Artharthi, one who wants things, Artham, wealth, exalt, they're all still good because they're resolved in the right path. However, the jnani, I deem to be my very self. Look at this. Because why is that? The same consciousness in Brahman is also in this. It's all in every one of us, but the jnani knows that. For that steadfast persons attain me alone the highest goal. Okay, very very important um, point. Is it clear to everybody? So, on the three types of bhaktas, what is the relationship of the three types of bhaktas based on the quality of the sadhana to Ishvara? We just saw this. So, for the Manda Bhakta, God is just a means. For the Madhyama Bhakta, God is both the means and the end. For the Jnani Bhakta, the realization, Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahman. It's the same Brahman that's there also in me. So I am deathless. This just body will perish, but I am that. This is the ultimate realization. Well, Bhagavan says that Sakama Bhakti, devotion with desire for material pleasure, everything, is not a bad way to start on the path of moksha. It still has a lot of limitations. Therefore, Bhagavan says it is best to transcend Sakama Bhakti to Nishkama Bhakti. In which two famous shlokas does he poke fun of the ways of the pleasure seekers? We saw that. We just saw that now. It is 20 and 21. You can find this in slide 68. So remember the two Trishtup meters that occur in this chapter. So these are popular verses because they make fun of people who do all religious practices. Everything, they chant the Vedas, Trividya Mam, Somata, Puta Papa, they perform yajnas. Those days they used to perform yajnas, pujas. यज्ञैरिष्ट्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते ते पुण्यमासाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम् अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिवि देव भोगान्. They go to all this Surendra Lokam, Indra's place, and they go see constant pleasures, all great food, beautiful dancers, everything. But after the punyam is exhausted, they come back to the Martya Loka. So Bhagavan pokes fun of them, which is valid, but remember, don't get trapped. Okay? For those who struggle to get into the path of Karma Yoga followed by Jnana Yoga for liberation, remember, how do you get liberated? It is first, you have to purify the body so it is suitable for getting and assimilating the knowledge. So Karma Yoga followed by Jnana Yoga. It's like elementary school followed by middle and high school to get to the graduation. Graduation is like moksha. Okay, Bhagavan. So Bhagavan introduces bhakti as an easy, readily available express path for traversing both karma and jnana yoga to ultimately gain liberation. In which shlokas does he highlight this aspect? So he highlights this in shlokas 26 and 27, which we'll see 78 and 79 slides. So, Poor of patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktya pakrutam ashnami viprayatatmanaha. Bhakti is the most simple way. You don't need to perform yajna, puja, all those things. Just offer me a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, whatever you have. That devout offering of the pure minded, I will accept. Bhakti is the easiest path. And he says, yeah, even if you don't have that water to give, you have water scarcity and you're not able to give me water. Yat karoshi yadashnasi, yat juhoshi dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. O son of Kunti, whatever you do, whatever you eat, give it as an, whatever austerity you undertake, dedicate it as an offering to me. That is bhakti. That's how you get liberation. So, with that, we will conclude the summary of this chapter.